Good morning, South Central Montana. It is 6 minutes after the hour. It is Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, 40 degrees outside. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor in the house, and Shaman Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing, and we are together the morning KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. So, how you doing, man? You seem like you're off to a laughing mood this morning, huh? What's going on?
I have. I just, it's one of those really great days to be happy to be alive. Yesterday we got 80 degrees here, sunny,
yeah?
not a cloud in the sky. 80 degrees the rest of the week, so a dry spell is on its way.
All right. Well, I'm excited if you're excited.
Well, it's a natural high.
Well, okay. If you say so.
Indeed.
Well, we didn't. We got about what we were supposed to get yesterday. Today, we're looking for a high of 57 again and overnight low of 35. It's going to be cloudy today, and well, there'll be some isolated showers here and there, but nothing too much to talk about. Only about a 20% chance around the valley. Wednesday, 52 will be the high, 33 the overnight low, AM clouds and PM sunshine. There is a little rain here again, in the evening around a 50% chance, but that tapers off on Thursday. 53 will be the high Thursday, 29 the overnight low, mostly sunny and the rain leaves, and then it goes up to 62 on Friday and partly cloudy. And 68 on Saturday and mostly sunny, and 73 on Sunday and mostly sunny, and no chance of precip anywhere in that weekend. So get out and have a good time. Monday, 72 and 44, partly cloudy, no precip. And Tuesday, 71 and 44 and partly cloudy. And then the thunderstorms and things move in on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. But boy, picture perfect Montana weekend, Shane, coming up this weekend. So we're pretty excited about that. So there you go.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Here we go, baby.
Yeah. Temperatures around the area right now. Livingston's 37. Manhattan is 39 degrees. Three Forks is 39. Gallatin Gateway is 37. Ennis is 37. Gardner is 39. Big Sky is 34. And at the airport in Belgrade, it's 39 degrees right now. And we're right at 40 degrees at 8 minutes after the hour here on May 7th, 2019. So that'll wrap up your weather for the morning, and we can move directly to this day in history. Huh, Shane?
Yeah, our favorite and most interesting time of the day, because this is where we learn something new so we can sleep tonight.
That's it. Absolutely. Well, in 1812, English poet Robert Browning was born in London. And quite a guy.
Amazing life. I mean, especially for that century, the 19th century, the Victorian age, very tight-lipped.
Yes.
And, he passed away the 12th of December, 1889. He was also a playwright as well as a poet. Amazing and important topic just because of who he was. His poems were known primarily for their irony and characterization and dark humor, social commentary, historical settings, and challenging vocabulary and syntax. And he did fall in love to Elizabeth Barrett,
Browning,
who he married,
yeah.
and that's Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and her in her own right, "How Do I Love Thee?" She was famous.
Yeah.
But the important thing before we move on about this was this century was so important for the arts. You came into the modern arts of Monet. You came into the modern opera with Puccini in Italy, and then all these writers in both the United States and
composers,
and
all those people. Yeah,
it's huge time, huge time in the arts, baby.
It was amazing time. Yeah. Well, it continued on in 1833 because composer Johann Brahms was born in Hamburg, Germany. So, and in 1840, composer Peter Tchaikovsky was born in Volkansky, Russia.
Exactly.
So that whole era right there produced some pretty fantastic people.
Well, and the remarkable thing, like Tchaikovsky. I mean, even though he was born after the Napoleonic Wars, and
Hmm.
particularly after the Russians threw Napoleon out of Moscow, but the 1812 Overture is probably Tchaikovsky's most famous works because it's played
Yeah.
all the time during major,
Yeah.
national holidays and
It's the
separate
Lone
fireworks.
Ranger theme song for some people. That if you're not sure what the
Yeah.
William Tell Overture is, it's
Yeah, that
it's a,
that and the Piano Concerto Number One,
yeah.
and he was another famous Russian Tchaikovsky for drinking too much vodka and swimming in the river in the middle of the winter, where
Yeah.
he ended up drowning himself. But yeah, he was a very tortured individual. He should have met Freud. I think he had some issues from his
Yeah,
childhood.
that could be it. I don't know. Well, in 1915, on this date, a German torpedo sank the British liner Lusitania off the Irish coast, killing nearly 1,200 people. And that
Which
was quite
everyone
a yeah.
believes was really a major reason the United States came to war.
Yeah, we got in because of
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, the Americans, yellow journalism,
yeah,
and that got the U.S. into war. Like in the Spanish-American War, that famous newspaper baron from California
yeah.
in his yellow journalism. Today they call it fake news, but 100 years
Right.
ago it was yellow
Yellow
journalism.
journalism. Yeah,
Anyway, it was called it was owned by the Cunard Line and was launched in 1906. So it was relatively a brand new ship, a
yeah.
sister ship of the Mauritania, which a lot of people may have remembered from their history. But it was incredible piece of modern technology. Just like in
Hmm.
1912, the great launch of the Titanic and the sister ship.
Yeah.
But it was the golden age of crossing the ocean in beautiful, gigantic, oversized ships, right?
Yep, that was it. Yeah,
That's
that
it.
was travel to the New World and see Indians
That-
and
yeah, that's
buffalo
right.
and or bison, I should say. There's no buffalo in America, North America.
No, they shot them all in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in 1939, Germany and Italy announced a military and political alliance, the Rome-Berlin Axis.
Yeah, a great book to read about is called The Rome-Berlin Axis, actually,
Mhm.
written in 1949 by British historian Elizabeth Whiskerman. The important thing about this immediate conversation was that Hitler went to Rome to meet Mussolini because Mussolini started the Nationalist Party in Europe, not
Yeah,
Hitler.
yeah,
And Mussolini came to power before Hitler, took over Italy before Hitler took over Germany. And of course, we know the story of Ethiopia and Haile Selassie going to the UN and asking for help because he invaded the country
right.
of nomads, camels, and spears and arrows, and couldn't defeat them with modern technology. But
Yeah,
anyway, that's beside. Anyway, Hitler really resented that because he thought he was all great and everything. But anyway, the long story short is he agreed to meet with Mussolini because he wanted Mussolini's help in Spain with the Civil War. And Mussolini said, "No, I got my own problems. You go figure that one out." So
yeah.
that was basically the context of the meeting, and we know the rest is history.
Yep. On May 7th, this date, 1945, Germany signed an unconditional surrender at Allied headquarters in Reims, France, to take effect the following day, ending the European conflict in World War II.
And it was so important because, it was a global war. The United States, in particular, not so much Russia, because the only thing they did in the Pacific was go into Korea to free it after the war was over in Europe. So, for everything manufactured by the U.S., one gun went to the Pacific and two to the European corridor to end that war first. So it was important to end that first to be able to end the entire war.
Yeah. 1954, the Battle of Dien Bien Phu in Vietnam ended after 55 days with Vietnamese insurgents overrunning French forces.
And it was a colony of France, a major colony, and a great
Yeah.
source of tropical food, fruit, and so forth. Interesting story in this. 1 month, 3 weeks, and 3 days. Started the 13th of March, lasted to the 7th of May, 1954. The only reason that this is of importance was it was basically because the French were going after the Vietnamese and the Laos fighters because the Ho Chi Minh Trail they were using. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Very familiar.
Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, the French thought they would go out and overpower them. They didn't realize what they were up against, and they had overall 20,000 troops and 10 tanks, 400 aircraft, and the opposition that consisted of China, Soviet Union, East Germany.
Wow.
They had 65,000 troops, and of course, the undeclared part for the French was the United States CIA that was there.
Yeah.
So all the French troops were captured, and the French surrendered. And to get the troops back, agreed to leave. They did. They got their men, and they were gone.
Yep. That ran them out. Ran them off.
Ran them off, baby.
Yeah. Well, we just had our controversial Kentucky Derby, but on this date in 1977, Seattle Slew won the Kentucky Derby on his way to horse racing's Triple Crown that year, 1977.
Oh, great. Yeah, I remember that.
What a horse, yeah. 1984, a $180 million out-of-court settlement was announced in the Agent Orange class action suit brought by Vietnam veterans. So there you go.
And that was an amazing story, and you know it as well, I'm sure, because you were on the ground. But the CIA convinced the Air Force to defoliate parts, but huge, vast parts of South Vietnam with Agent Orange to fight the Vietnamese. And I imagine you probably stomped through some of that, right?
Well, I was there pretty early. I don't think Agent Orange came along till after I was gone. Because everything we cleared, we did it with chainsaws and axes and everything else. We didn't do it. Yeah. We didn't spray anything anywhere. So I think that was before my time. But all right.
You guys were busy with a little bit of napalm here.
Napalm was our clearing deal there. We used to we had a big water tank where we showered.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, we used to go climb up on that, and we would watch the planes go by and drop napalm outside the compound. And that stuff is nasty, man. It's nasty stuff. It was.
And did you ever see the famous Puff the Magic Dragon gunship?
Never saw it. Heard about it though.
You heard about it, yeah. Unbelievable. Like they had 38 caliber gun mounted on it and a 50 caliber machine Gatling guns on it, right? On the side of it.
Yeah, supposedly what I heard was it could fly over a football field and put a bullet in every square foot.
That's right.
Yeah, of something like that.
50 caliber bullet.
Yeah. That 50 caliber, just in case anybody wants to know, that will take your leg off. That'll take your head off. It'll take your arm off. I mean, it's
close to 6 inches long, right?
Yeah, it's one pretty good size little piece of ordnance there. All right, we got to take a quick break here. We've got the Headwaters Livestock, and we got the Montana News and Agriculture, and John Deere. So let's take care of our farmers, ranchers, and cab drivers and truck drivers and anybody that gets food, clothing, or booze to your table. They all do it. So we'll be right back. 25 minutes after the top of the hour, it is Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, 39 degrees outside. Shane Tobin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing, my great co-host. 11 years together, I think, something like that. Off and on, eight permanently, I guess, weekly, whatever. So
yeah, it's been a run, baby. It's been a run.
Yeah, not tired of you yet, I guess, but I don't know.
We're like the two plants you have hanging in the corner, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're just there. You just go water them every morning.
Yeah, they just keep hanging in there.
That's exactly right. Good call.
Finishing up our day in history, 1992, a 203-year-old proposed constitutional amendment barring Congress from giving itself a midterm pay raise was ratified when Michigan became the 38th state to approve it. So,
the 27th amendment to your Constitution. The best part about it was ratified by the Congress September 25th, 1789.
I know. It wasn't ratified till 2000 or what was it? Yeah, 1992. So
yeah, it's one of the things, and it's just a very short line. You got to pay everybody in Congress something.
Something like that. Well, for the layman out there, it simply means that if you're in office, you can't vote yourself a raise. The raise has to take effect in the next Congress,
right.
And you have about an 86% chance of coming back. So,
that's what's so funny about it. You're right.
Yeah,
that's just reading it.
Yeah.
So, congressmen today, you can vote for a raise for the congressmen that come in 2021.
Right. And chances,
which is likely you.
Yeah.
Which is likely you.
Yeah, and if you're an incumbent, particularly if you've done more than 2 terms, more than likely you're a shoo-in to be back in there and get the big bucks. So,
yeah.
2000. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just. What? I'm sorry. I get excited about stuff when we're talking about it. I forget. So, just so everybody knows out there that a congressman today. $174,000 per year.
Yeah.
$174,000 per year, and a congressman gets $1 million budget, and a senator gets $1.5 million.
Wow.
So
there you go.
Good deal. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, that senators and congressmen are paid the same. Imagine.
Whoa. Hard to believe. Yeah. Well, on this date, 2008, Dmitry Medvedev. We remember him, was sworn in as Russia's president. That's the one that President Obama was talking to his aide and said, hey, after the election, I'll have more flexibility. To work with you. And I'm trying to imagine if Donald Trump had been caught saying that on the where that would take us. Yeah.
And the amazing thing, him and Mr. Putin have had such a great deal since 2000.
Oh, yeah.
Putin became president the 7th of May, 2000, after Yeltsin.
Yeah.
And the Constitution in Russia, you can only run one term.
Yeah.
So Dmitry was the prime minister, and they swapped. Yeah. And they have been ever since, so good deal there.
Records today, or birthdays today, Eva Perón, born on this date. Also, Marcus Lowe Theaters, and Gary Cooper from here, and went to school here, and got a star on the Walk of Fame downtown. So, all right, that wraps it up for this half hour. We'll be back right after this with, 5 or 6 things you need to know about Bozeman. 23 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, May 7, 2019, 40 degrees outside. Welcome to the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. Shane Montalban in Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And, Shane, we're finally getting it whittled down here for the mascot name and the colors of the high school. Finally.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
The interesting thing this time around, it's great the way they're doing it, because the last time around they just announced it. Remember, they didn't slowly go through this process.
I know, everybody said, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, what's happening here?" Yeah. Well, we've got 2 polls that are similar and yet not similar. Community survey, 2,755 people responded for the mascot, and they like the Raptors. 29.4% was the winner of the 5, Mountaineers, Timberwolves, Rams, and the Osprey. And they like the colors black and royal blue. 44.8 liked that in the community survey. The student survey, 439 students, future Gallatin High School students, grades 6 through 9. They like the Timberwolves by 39% and the Raptors by 25%, and then the Rams, the Mountaineers, and the Osprey. And they also like the black and royal blue, 45% for that. So I guess it'll come down to, is it going to be the Raptors or the Timberwolves as to who's going to win out over that. So I don't know. The school administrators and trustees have said all along they want to give heavy weight to what students want, and but school board chair Andy Willett said it's unfortunate that students prefer Timberwolves because he feels it would be disrespectful to Three Forks, where the mascot is the Wolves, and Glacier High, which has the Wolfpack. So Reinhardt said that that would go against school district policy, and the Bozeman shouldn't pick a mascot that would overlap with another Gallatin County or another large Montana high school. So I don't know. What do you think, Shane? You like Raptors? You like Mountaineers? You like?
The only safe comment here is I love black and blue because that's what players look like after a game.
Yeah, there you are.
And they're going to save on the cleaning because of you won't be able to see the grass stains on the uniform.
Yeah, grass stains, blood, whatever.
Exactly.
So I like black and royal blue looks pretty powerful. Those are those are cold colors, dark colors, intimidating colors, I should say. So, but they it'd be interesting to see if they. I agree. I always thought the Stormcastle Golden Knights, but everybody's telling me, there's Knights in there's Knights all over the state, and
yeah, that's right.
Whatever. So, I was kind of kiboshed on that one, but I thought that'd be a real cool name. They could have a horse with a, guy in armor and a joust and, the whole 9 yards out there, the white stallion and everything that, like the Trojan have in California, so. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But the community poll had the Raptors at number 1 with 29.4%. Followed by the Mountaineers with 28, and then the students like the Timberwolves at 39, followed by the Raptors at 25, and the Rams at 17. So that kind of left it open for where that's going. So
yeah,
I guess we'll find out sooner or later what they're going to come down. I'm not sure how or when they're going to make a decision, but I guess, hey, since I'm not in school, I don't care.
Well, we got to talk about, Montana locking away the iconic Yellowstone National Park bison. But bison would have been a good one because it's a herd. Well, football is like a herd game, right?
Well, sure, yeah. Well, all team sports are herd games, pretty much,
exactly.
other than golf or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back with more right after this. 14 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, May 7th, 2019. 40 degrees outside. Shane Montalban on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox. And we'll have Jeff Krauss in at 8 o'clock. And coming up the 7 o'clock hour, it's Mental Health Week. We will have our guest will be Kevin Maxwell to talk about Mental Health Week. He is the clinical director and founder of ProvidenceMentalHealth.com, ProvidenceMH.com. If you want to check out the website, it's ProvidenceMH.com. And he is located at 2246 Boot Hill Court, number 4. Here in Bozeman, so we'll be talking with him about what events and what are the goals of Mental Health Week. And then we've got a parking debate, Shane, that we'll talk to Jeff Krauss about. We got another planned hotel downtown at the corner of Mendenhall and Tracy. And Andy Holleran is putting that up. It's a 6-story building called the AC Hotel by Marriott. And they want to exchange some spaces in the parking garage for that. So we'll see how that how that plays out.
And we got a question, Jeff, about that caller this week we had about unknown rental residential units in Bozeman and what the council thinks about it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm putting the list now together of things to ask.
Okay. Also, Streamline Busses. People wanted to know how Streamline Busses are paid for, so he ought to know that. So we'll see. I should know that, but I don't. So, well, anyway, what appears to be happening is that Holleran attempted to stockpile monthly parking spaces in Bridger downtown garage with the intent to transfer them like currency to whichever project he thinks would benefit the most. So there you are.
Exactly.
So he's thinking, isn't he? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what appears to be happening is that he's going to try to, kind of pay Peter and rob Peter and pay Paul or whatever,
Right,
something like that. So.
That sounds sort of like a government oxymoron.
I was going to say that parking garage is getting pretty full here with all the things that are around it.
Exactly.
It's quite a thing there. I think we probably need another one down there somewhere, or put a couple more stories on that one, the one we got.
And it makes you wonder, so were they brilliant in planning at the airport for more parking and rental availability, or did they just guess about the future of things in downtown Bozeman?
Well, when you put up a 6-story building, you don't have an extra half acre for parking sitting there either.
Well, that's right. And it's not like people are going to come there and not rent a car because they're going to obviously drive to Yellowstone Park and so forth.
Oh,
so
sure, yeah.
They're not there to go shopping.
No, they're definitely not. So. Well, I think it's good we have downtown hotels because, during tourist season that people, I think, would like to stay downtown where they can walk to restaurants, walk to the stores and things like that. And I think it would be good for the downtown economy, but parking is an issue, down there, certainly, even with the parking garage, even if some spaces are allocated for, either hotel, whichever hotel he has the Element, and then he'll have this other one, on the other corner. And so I guess whichever one fills up, that'll be the message. Huh?
That'll be
All right.
Well,
All right. All right. We got to take another break. Noxatril is raising its ugly head again. So if you got kids in the car or don't want to explain about performance, you can turn it down. This is the very first commercial will be, and then of course we got Pro Flowers and we've got Credit Repair, we got John Deere and all of that. But Noxatril is going to come up right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
that quick.
5 minutes for the top of the hour. It is Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, and 40 degrees outside. Coming up at 7 o'clock, we'll be talking with Kevin Maxwell from ProvidenceMentalHealth.com, and it's Mental Health Week. So if you have any questions about mental health or any of the events that may be coming up this week and what the goals of Mental Health Week are, we'll be talking with him about that. So. And at 8 o'clock, Jeff Krauss will join us as well, and we'll be talking with him about all the issues that have come up during the week that we're supposed to ask him about. So we'll take care of that for sure. We'll put Jeff on the spot and make sure that we hold him to task for all the stupid things the city's doing these days. So
Yeah.
Well, in other news, of course, in our immediate area here, the school elections are today. The Gallatin Tuesday is election day for public schools in Gallatin County, and 9 school districts have issues on the ballot. The largest measure is the Bozeman Elementary School District's request to voters for $2 million a year for 6 years to pay for building maintenance and repairs at elementary and middle schools. It would replace a $1.5 million a year building reserve levy that's expiring. This increase is being proposed to keep up with inflation and the rising cost of construction. So that is going to, well, they're going to get in your pocket again. So, that schools, I don't know. Those are things, Shane, that are really hard.
They are, yeah.
They're not, they're. Well, I guess for some people, they're easy to say no to.
Yeah, right.
I don't have kids, so screw you. I don't care if they fall down, crumble, or what, But still, you got to think about the future of Bozeman and the future of the people here. And the more educated our kids are, the better they do out in the world. And we sort of have an obligation to take care of our society, I think. But yet you're tapped out, at a certain point.
Again, in the last 70 years, we've come to understand the importance of education, and what brought it home were the 12 million men and women that came home from World War II and got the GI Bill.
Yeah,
and went to university, and that changed. In years of my lifetime, the sciences that have come about because of our generation. And the greatest generation has proven that education changes everything and made us the premier country of the world. That's what it was, education.
Yeah. Well, freshmen entering MSU in the fall will be asked to solve problems 4 years from now that don't exist today. So,
actually, right.
That's
especially
where we are.
In medicine.
Yeah. All the fields. Let's take a phone call before we have to go. Caller, you are on the air. What's your name? What's going on?
This is Aaron. I don't think it's very hard to
say no.
Determine which one. Well, I mean, they're nothing but indoctrinating centers for communism. These schools, they start out telling your kid, "Oh, you're perfect." There's no trophy, there's no winners,
yeah.
And it just, I tell you what, man, Generation X, my generation, if there was a greatest generation, my generation ain't anywhere near close to it. We dropped the ball when it came to raising our kids.
Yeah.
And, the school system is basically the children belong to them as their view.
Yeah.
And all we do is support them. We're the life support system but the children and all, as far as they're concerned, belong to the state. And it's a terrible situation that we're in right now. And we have to defund these schools all the way from K to 12, all the way up to the colleges. We have to defund them until they can, start educating the kids. I mean, they're not even coming out educated.
Yeah, I hear you. I got to go, Aaron. Hey, thanks for the call, though. All right. Thanks much. All right, we got to pay some bills. We'll be talking with Kevin Maxwell next of Providence Mental Health. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be right back with more right after this. All right, thank you, Dan. Welcome, everyone. 6 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. It's a Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, 41 degrees outside. Shane Tomlin on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And our guest on the KMMS Morning Soapbox is Kevin Maxwell, returning to the microphones because, it's Mental Health Month.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's Mental Health Month, May.
Get a little closer to that if you can. There you go.
How about this?
That's good. That's really good. All right. And you are the clinical director and founder of ProvidenceMentalHealth.com or ProvidenceMH.com, I should say.
That's correct.
Yeah. How long have you been doing that? Or how long has this been established?
Providence Mental Health has been incoming with clients, and we have now 12 therapists, and we began at the beginning of March. Okay. So we're intaking clients and families on a daily basis now.
Okay. One of the things that we didn't get to last time you were here was cost, because some of our listeners, if you remember, were calling in and they were talking about that, there's not a lot of insurance that covers mental health. There's not a lot of, from a medical standpoint, it's kind of one of those off by itself. You could buy it, certainly, I guess. But so can the average middle class, lower middle class person come to you guys, and do you have plans or based on income or things like that?
Absolutely. We have a sliding scale, and we have a family-friendly fee structure for families that are coming in. We also we take all kinds of insurance from Medicaid to Medicare to TRICARE for vets. and like 7 others. So we do everything we can to accommodate every need.
Okay. Yeah. Is it primarily based on income or?
Income is one of the factors, but it's also ability to pay, and it's every situation for every family is different, but we try to work out a plan for everybody.
Well, I was thinking primarily the people that you maybe have a brother or an uncle or somebody that needs something, but the family coffers are pretty. You're working 2 jobs and barely making ends meet and things like that, and they say, well, I know he needs help or she needs help, but how do I pay for that? So that's why I was asking about income and, maybe some other societal situations.
I'm not sure what you mean by societal situations, but families that come in and they have a relative or they have somebody, we have billing specialists and people that look at insurances very well versed in both of these topics here in the Valley, and they will do whatever it takes to try to find a means that's appropriate for the family to be able to get help for their family member.
Yeah. Well, that's what we wanted to talk to you about because, of what you do. There may be a lot of people listening to us who, if they've got to pay out of pocket or something like that, are going to be reluctant to, they're just going to live with the situation as is when they don't really have to.
Well, that's why we try to encourage, we try to encourage them to think of it in a different way, because many of the insurances that are carried here have such a high deductible, $7,000 deductibles in some cases, which is like insurance, but you don't really have insurance. You're going to be coming out of pocket. So if you come in, we'll work out a plan for you to be able to get care.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think that's the important thing that we need to know concerning mental health, because it is one of those issues that people aren't, if you break your leg, well, zoom, let's go to the hospital. But if you break your mind, well, I don't know, maybe he'll get over it, or, it's a phase or whatever.
Yeah,
and,
it's one of
it shouldn't be treated that way.
Right. It's one of the things we were talking about last time is that mental health is easy to not talk about at all.
Yeah.
Right. So we have an aversion to talking about anything regarding our mental health or how we're doing emotionally. If we have a cold or we break our ankle, we're fine to talk about that to just about anybody.
Yeah.
But when it comes to mental health, it's a difficult conversation. And then the financial piece that you're discussing, where it's not made available as an actual need many times, also makes it an extra double difficult conversation for folks to have. But that's what we're trying to do, is change that dialogue.
Yeah. Well, the information I wanted to put out this morning is for people to contact you and
absolutely
and find out, because don't assume that they, your help is unaffordable, is what I'm trying to put out there to our listeners. That if you've got a situation where a family member or a neighbor or somebody, obviously needs help, or you think needs help. Certainly, we want to be able to make sure that person has that ability to go there, because we've seen the consequences all over in big cities of people going crazy and doing, I don't want to use the word crazy too loosely there, but, of people that, obviously have problems, and they go out and they take it out on society. And thankfully, we haven't had much of that here, but there have been murder suicides in families and things
Absolutely.
like that obviously could have been prevented had those folks maybe had an opportunity to talk to someone at your institution and get the help they needed.
Absolutely. Providence Mental Health was designed to fit into a niche that we aren't covering here in the Gatlin Valley and the nearby areas, in that we don't have a waiting list. We have a lot of clinicians. We have a lot of space to do intakes. It was set up to make accommodations for anybody that actually needs help in a different way, where it's not necessarily accessible here for the whole family, for children, for adolescents. So it was designed specifically for what you're talking about, so that let's not just suffer in silence. We want to be proactive, and we want to catch problems before they actually become critical.
Right.
And what if we could do that? Many times people say, well, gee, we never thought he would do that, or we never saw it coming. But that's not true. Anybody in the mental health setting would have seen the signs. So being Mental Health Month, we are doing a lot of work with Partners Out of the Darkness here. It's a suicide prevention organization. It's a national organization. We're working with NAMI locally here for those challenged with mental illness. Mental Health Month is obviously very important as far as raising the awareness for that, because it doesn't need to get horrible. It doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
We have the skills, we have the ability to see the warning signs prior to that time. So if anybody has a question about anybody, let's at least have a discussion about your child, your husband, whatever it is, because we can help. We can alleviate that with conversation, with our awareness of mental health, and we can educate you as to the warning signs that might be troubling someone you love.
Yeah. The other thing I'm wondering about is sometimes, and we're talking about with kids particularly, sometimes kids are just being kids, are acting out, they're overzealous, and in some cases it's a something brain-wise that isn't working correctly. And I think it's hard for parents to make that decision of, maybe they go to the doctor gives them lithium or,
Right.
some calming medication of some kind. And maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't, but that may not be the real answer to the problem. As the kid gets older, and now all of a sudden the kid's 16, 17 and is committing crimes or, doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And now, is it too late? Probably not. But I mean, there's more work to be done probably, because you got a whole childhood of things to alleviate.
Oh, that's correct. It's better to engage earlier, because we can typically spot tendencies even as early as the age of 5 and 6 years old. If it's a biochemical need, of course, a lot of times teachers and a lot of schools will want you to do a biochemical solution, a medication solution, without necessarily understanding that the problem isn't based on anything neurodevelopmental or brain chemistry-wise. It's actually things that the child's responding to within their family system, with anxieties that they may have just being children, fitting into social situations, because every behavior is a communication. And so as soon as the sooner that we start to identify and give the child a place to express their emotions in a safe, confidential place, we can start to work out the narrative for them that maybe doesn't lead to the more destructive behaviors as they grow up. So that's why Providence Mental Health is a prevention agency. And the sooner we engage with a family, the better the outcome will be long term. That's our goal.
So Kevin, I have a couple of real quick questions. One, the Mental Health Awareness Month, was initiated in 1949, and they have had a theme every year. Last year's theme was hashtag for mind, for body. What's the theme this year? And number two, the psychotherapists or psychologists that you have, can you give us some type of idea of what their hourly rate is that they charge for the work they do?
Sure. I don't know exactly what the theme is. Yeah. We deal with so many issues. I haven't nailed down onto a slogan as far as that goes. One of the things we're really trying to work on in Montana here is suicide awareness, because it's something that we talk about, but it's not something that's an actual awareness. And suicides are going on all the time here that aren't publicized. And that's just a fact. It's just part of a Montana problem, and it's a national problem.
Well, we're 49th in income, or have been 48th, 49th in income. We're shut in with each other during the winters.
That's right.
In many rural areas, and nerves get frayed, and things happen, and money, and kids, and everything else, and
very complex.
And it's a very complex situation that we have here. That maybe. You may have to drive 50, 70 miles to get help from somebody.
That's right.
Here, where you could drive, or take a short cab ride and get somebody. But
so our goal, at least within the area that people can reach us, is to be accessible and begin to have, if you're shut in with family and you're having these kind of pressures, if you have somebody to talk with and you have somebody to identify those signals, then we can have a family discussion about that and surround that person that may be actually struggling and make recommendations based on that.
Okay. Is there some kind of hourly rate or some base pay that you use, or
It's really different. Our base rate is $155 an hour, but there's many different types. You have couples, so you have this. It breaks down into different things, and then some of those rates, are
covered by insurance?
Yeah, covered by insurances, right? So it's different in many cases. It's not just one answer.
You were mentioning you had 7 other kinds of insurance besides Medicaid and Medicare and things like that. I assume you would help people apply for those insurances if they don't have them.
Oh, absolutely.
If that would be
absolutely.
That would be something, yeah. Because I would say the important thing I want to stress with you today is that don't let money stand in the way of getting help.
That's right.
Because there's a way to do it.
That's right.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll. The people that you work with will find a way to help these folks under some kind of insurance type care.
Absolutely. We have people specifically that do that, and we help enroll family members in insurances that they're not aware of, that they qualify for.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're talking with Kevin Maxwell. He's the clinical director and founder of ProvidenceMH.com, ProvidenceMentalHealth.com. So check out the website, ProvidenceMH.com. And we'll be back with more with Kevin right after this. 22 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. It's Tuesday, May 7, 2019, 41 degrees outside. Jamin Taubman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. My co-host, half man, half amazing, Kevin Maxwell, is in the house, and he is the clinical director and founder of ProvidenceMentalHealth.com, ProvidenceMH.com, I should say. Don't spell out the mental health, you may not find it. So just ProvidenceMH.com. And Kevin, I want to thank you for coming back. We're talking about Mental Health Month. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, Shane.
Yes, sir.
You're banging.
Sorry.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is that a lot of parents face is their kids being bullied in school, bullied on social media, the way they dress, the way they, maybe they're nerds, you got the jocks, you got the cheerleaders, you got this group, that group, whatever, the chess club, the whatever. And, the kids are trying to find themselves in all this chaos when everybody says you got to be in this clique or that clique. You got to be accepted here or there. And if you're not, then you're really ostracized, and we've seen suicides of kids being bullied on social media and in person or beaten up at school or whatever. So I think that's something that a lot of families listening to us might relate to. And what's the help there for those folks? Because that it probably isn't going to stop. But is there a way to deal with it, I guess, for the 3 or 4 years you're in high school until you get out?
Yeah, well, bullying certainly isn't anything new, and cliques aren't new. I mean, we had them when we were kids.
Sure.
So, and every parent faced social pressures of some sort. It's much worse now because the absentee rates for kids missing school, truancy, they're all raising up.
Yeah.
And part of that is the hyperbolic world we have now because of the internet and because of social media. Because just imagine now, you're in school, you make a social error of some type that somebody deems one of your peers thinks is a social error. Now that can be broadcast like social media. Now you're like any other reality TV show where you've made this social gaffe of some sort that somebody wants to target you for, and they spread it out. So you go viral among your peer group.
Yeah.
So it's not even like you can get away with just small errors. If you make an error, you're going to get punished for it.
Yeah.
Just like if you're one of the popular ones, you get praised for it. So it's very much a reality TV world for our youngsters to the extent that they go to. So much pressure to keep up, even for the proms, and all of the different things are over the top. It's like reality TV for them. It's very hard.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was thinking about too is that there was I remember a movie where the girl wore a microphone and a concealed camera in a brooch around her neck. And until she brought in the actual film, the school wouldn't do much. And I don't know that the school can do much unless they see the social media, which normally, if there's danger, will be taken down or deleted.
The number of kids that have this type of information coming to them is just overwhelming. They can't sort out each particular case.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of the things that we're doing this summer is we're having Providence panels. There's going to be 3 Providence panels, and so please come to the website to be able to find out when those are going to take place. Because what we're going to do is have parenting groups where parents come in and just ask questions of our panel of clinicians, anything that they might be curious about. Because we have a number one of teachers and people that are working in the schools that can discuss what the trends are. And you'd be shocked at some of the things kids are actually dealing with that their parents don't know about, and kids don't want you to know about. But we eventually find out some of these things, and we start to direct the attention at communicating with kids around these things to lessen the harm and to begin to have dialogue about what type of judgments to make, what type of decisions to make, because it's overwhelming for them.
Well, I think a lot of parents think their kids are wonderful, and if they're not accepted into groups, sometimes the kids don't want to disappoint the parents that they didn't make cheerleader, they didn't make, debate team, they didn't make this or that, or the basketball team or something, and they feel they've let their family down.
They have, and they've let themselves down, and all their peers know of every one of their failures.
Oh, yeah.
Every one of their gaffes.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be a kid today with the amount of anxiety that we're seeing in our kids, our kid population, our adolescent population. It's through the roof compared to what we experience.
Yeah. Yeah, my day we passed notes, that was about as bad as it got,
In our minds, we thought that everyone was looking at us.
Yeah.
And everybody saw everything, and they were all thinking about us and saying things about us. But now that might be closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Because of social media.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, everybody's got a camera phone, and you see how somebody's, look at this stupid outfit she wore today, and it's all over the place.
There's a lot of shame. And kids don't report it because it's,
or how skinny or whatever.
Right, and they don't report it so much because it's part of the natural way that behavior is. It's part of the competitiveness. It's part of part of being a kid. Unfortunately, today is that you live in a world like that, so you don't even notice that it's happening to you, but you're having symptoms of increase in anxiety and depression because of it. Yeah.
Well, we're out of time again, Kevin. Thanks for a lot of information there. ProvidenceMH.com. Give them a call at 579-4984, 579-4984 if you want to sit down and chat and see, explore situations and what can be done if there's something that can be done. 2246 Boot Hill Court, number 4, Bozeman. So, Kevin, thanks for coming in, and
Thank you,
good
Tom.
luck, and we appreciate all you're doing for the community.
Thank you. Appreciate coming back.
All right. That does it for us. Jeff Krauss will join us at 8 o'clock, and Shane and I will come back with the 5 things you need to know right after this. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. Coming up at 8 o'clock, Jeff Krauss will join us, 3-time Mayor of Bozeman and current City Commissioner, so we'll be chatting with Jeff. And Shane Taubman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing. And, of course, Tom Eagleoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And this is the KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane. So, rock and roll. We had a question yesterday. We didn't have time to get to it right at the end of the show, Shane, about Biden and his son and Russia and lots of money changing hands.
So here's the context, everybody. Hunter Biden is Joe Biden's son. And as you know, Vice President Biden left office 2017. Interesting timeline before that. On April 18th, 2014, Burisma Holdings, which is a holding company, an energy exploration company in Ukraine since 2002, announced that Hunter Biden would be appointed to its board of directors and paid $50,000 a month. And oddly enough, his father followed that up with a trip to the Ukraine because, well, his son had sort of run into some problems because of this appointment. And although the White House had, are you ready for this, dismissed nepotism charges against Biden's son. Nepotism. Obama had charged him with nepotism. We have all this stuff about Trump's family. Yeah. It actually happened under Obama's term. Anyway, so Biden goes to Kiev, Ukraine, April 22nd, 2014, this 2 days after, to announce United States support for the Ukrainian government, military support, and talk to them about buying gas from the U.S. But more importantly, he threatened the prosecutor in Kiev with investigating his son joining this board, and told them they had 6 hours to fire the guy. It's on tape. This is on tape. So basically, his son made about $15 million in that deal. Now, let's fast track to the China deal. So December 2013, Hunter Biden travels on Air Force Two with his father to Beijing. They returned shortly thereafter to the United States, where Hunter Biden sets up BHR Partners, and it's a private investment fund founded in 2014 by Chinese and American partners to make investments outside of China. Where did they get the money to fund it? Well, they got $1 billion from the Chinese government for BOHA investments, and then it was increased to $1.5 billion in 2015. Now remember, your vice president's still in office.
Yeah. No problem there.
There's no problem there. So it's really interesting because both of these fundings, the first $1 billion, then increased to $1.5 billion. Bank of China provided it. It's one of the largest of the 4 banks in China, and of course owned by the state. It's because it's a fascist state. They own everything. And the HNA group. The interesting thing is that this BOHA investment invested in Face Double Plus, and it's a mobile phone app built by the Chinese government with the help of Google to mass surveil the state and spy on its citizens. So this is going to be interesting for the debates for Biden to explain the nepotism charges dropped by Obama and the money in the Ukraine and China his son's done so well with. So there's the Biden update.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? All the things that are going on there. So,
yeah, the projection of the Democrats is infallible, man.
Yeah,
it's great.
I have a hard time understanding why the Republicans weren't all over this. Maybe they were and they just fell on deaf ears, or maybe the media didn't want to hear about it. But I don't know.
Well, it'll come up in the debates. You know it will.
Well, I would hope it'll come up in the debates, but whether it'll come up by another Democrat or not is the question. That would be cool. If another Democrat questions it, if Kamala Harris goes after him.
Well, look, the irony here would be that Trump and him are debating, and Trump turns to him and says, maybe you can explain the nepotism charges that President Obama dropped against your son to the American people. Now, that would be a great question.
That would be a good question. I don't think MSNBC is going to ask that one. Fox News might. I don't know.
Trump will ask it. Trump would ask it.
Well, yeah, Trump will ask it. That's for sure. All right, we got to take a quick break. Noxatril warning is the first commercial, about a 1 minute thing, and then you're home free with Sherry's Berries, Pro Flowers, and all the other stuff. So hang on. We'll be right back after Sue makes her debut, or not her debut, but spews her stuff. Anyway, we'll be right back. 13 minutes for the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, May 7, 2019, 42 degrees outside. Shane Madaman on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. Half man, half amazing. Tommy Galoff, your morning mayor, in the house. And from our text line, Shane, you might remember this quote from Barack Obama: not a whiff of scandal. Right.
You can keep your doctor. You can keep your insurance.
Right,
yeah, exactly.
Also from our text line regarding Sue Cosner of Noxatril. So Sue's a professional. Wonder what she gets an hour. I don't know, but
I don't know.
I'm sure she's well compensated for what she does. So.
It's all about the voice, baby.
It's all about the voice. Yeah. So we'll see what's going on. Hey, if you want to send us a text, 478-8298 is the number. Or if you're on your smartphone already, even an easier way to do it is simply go to AM 1450 KMMS on your smartphone. And right next to the listen to us is a message button. So just hit that and type in your message, and we'll read it on the air. And if you don't want it on the air, put NFA, not for air, in front of it. And Shane and I will share it offline.
Exactly.
Right. And we'll also
five things you need to know. I got to jump on this because we're going to run out of time.
Jump on it, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Well, the first one is about Mnuchin. Secretary of Treasury Mnuchin informed the Congress, which he said he would by May 8th, that they're not going to turn over the president's tax returns. And this is good for the audience because they're going to want to hear this. So the United States Revenue Act of 1924, 43 Stat 253, approved June 2nd, 1924, also known as the Mellon Tax Bill cut of federal tax rates, and established the U.S. Board of Tax Appeals, which later became the United States Tax Court in 1942. Andrew Mellon was the U.S. Secretary of Treasury at the time. Now, the reason this is important was they established the rates. So I'm going to tell you the rates, number one, because people will be fascinated to hear this. So $4,000 income in 4% tax rate up to $500,000, 6% tax rate. So that's what it was back in 1924. Now, this whole thing about not turning over, in this act, it specifically stated that the government was not entitled to turn over anyone's tax returns. So that's why they've cited this bill in that response, and he shouldn't turn them over because he doesn't have to.
Yeah. Well, according to, what did they get Al Capone for?
Yeah, not paying taxes.
Well, there you are. So we must have the return to know he didn't, huh?
Well, the guys have been audited for 50 years.
Probably, yeah, there you go. So, well, as I've said from day one, that the president and the vice president are audited every year they're in office by the IRS. And, if the IRS is happy with it, what am I going to find? Is there going to be a check in there to Putin for what, hookers?
The bottom line here is I don't want to see Biden's tax returns. I want to see his son Hunter Biden's tax returns.
There you go. Yeah. Let's see what he made.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take another quick break. No Noxitril in here, just good old normal stuff. We'll be right back. 5 minutes for the top of the hour. We've had a caller patiently waiting, chatting with Shane, and let's see if Shane's brainwashed him totally by now. Caller, you are on the air. What's up?
This is the old guy.
Yeah.
Well, the old guy says that Shane and I got it all figured out.
Okay, good. Go for it.
Well, here it is. I'm going to talk about a constitutional question, and I want you two smart guys to tell me why we keep circumventing it. Okay. Article 4 says that the person in the Bill of Rights says a person is entitled to be free from searches. Basically, he's entitled to have his person and his papers private to himself. Mm-hmm. Now, how in the world can a Congress of this United States ask any president to circumvent the federal Constitution?
Well, they can't do it for a fishing expedition, which is what this pretty much is.
Why do we keep breaking the rules of the country? Why do we keep breaking the constitutional rules?
Well, because it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Oh, okay. Now I got her.
It's a short answer.
Now.
It's a short answer, man. I had no idea I couldn't do that,
Well, I'll tell you something. We still have the the Four Corners know-it-all.
Group going?
Yeah, we have the Four Corners know-it-all for people that are disturbed upstairs, downstairs, otherwise. To come out, cost you nothing. We'll buy your coffee.
Okay. And what time is this? After the show, obviously. It better be.
Well, it is. Okay. It's about 9:15, and we're all out down there, and we're talking about this, and we're talking about that.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about the Constitution.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why a Congress supposedly is formed by our Constitution, why they would circumvent it and do things that they're doing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter about what Joe Biden's done. He's had some terrible losses in his life. There's a skeleton in his closet.
Oh, yeah.
There's a skeleton probably in yours and mine and Shane's. But why, like Trump says, do you think that they'll ever drain the damn swamp?
Well, it can't be done in 2 years, I don't think.
No, it can't, and I don't think it can be done in a lifetime.
Well, it's going to have to be a something that the next president wants, and the next president wants, and the next president wants, and I don't think you're going to have that. But
if that would happen,
I don't know. Come on, guys. He got rid of Ryan and 40. He got rid of Ryan and 42 Republicans in the last election.
Well, yes, that's true. Only cost him the House. Only cost him the House of Representatives.
Yeah,
but
Paul
other than
Ryan.
that,
He went by the wayside.
Yeah.
But I don't. They're supposed to. It isn't about so much. I don't think the personal entity, whether a guy's got 5 girlfriends or 20 wives. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
I care about whoever the president is of this country to lead it in a presidential way and do the best he can. I don't care about his private life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
I want him to be able to lead this nation and the people to a better republic or democracy, as a lot of people say.
Well, I care about your private life. So I want to know how many skeletons you got.
Yeah.
Well, hell, I got a lot.
You can't just have one.
One of them's talking on the radio here, you know. I mean, the things I say is that's skeletons.
I got a walk-in closet.
That's how busy Tom is. And he has them hanging all in order.
That's right. They're in order. They're in order by year.
My biggest skeleton, I think, is this here. I love to go down to Walmart and various stores, and I'm like Alan Funt on Candid Camera.
Yeah,
and I love to talk to them little kids. You know, them little kids are smarter than some of their folks.
Yeah.
They say some of the damnedest things you'll ever hear, and I love to hear that. That's my skeleton there.
All right, man. I got to go. Hey,
anyway,
thanks.
Take care, you guys.
All right, take care.
Fourth Amendment, everybody. The Fourth Amendment. Read it to the federal Constitution.
There you go. All right, Shane, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We've got Jeff Krauss in the house coming up next, so we'll be right back with more right after this. All right, good morning, South Central Montana. 6 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock. It's Tuesday, May 7, 2019, 44 degrees outside. The KMMS Morning Soapbox with Tom and Shane on the air. And Jeff Krauss, of course, joins us as he does every Tuesday. Maybe not next Tuesday. I don't know.
Not next Tuesday.
Not next Tuesday.
Well, it might be.
Okay.
So don't replace me next week.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you when I'm going away. The following week for sure.
Yeah.
So...
Well, yeah.
Is that the 14th? Something like that, I think.
Like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. The calendar you've got up there was 3 months ago or something.
Yeah. That's a new calendar. That's May.
Oh,
That's
a
May,
new
man.
calendar.
That's May, man.
May, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Marking off the days for how long I'm here.
I'm kind of we're all short timers when you get to be Tom's and my age.
That's true.
We're only taking it a week at a time.
That's right. One of the things we talked about off the air, and we need to talk about Streamline Bus Line, free to ride, and who pays for that, baby?
So it mostly the Associated Students of Montana State University and the Montana State University and the federal government.
Okay. And HRDC throws some money in there.
Well,
somewhere.
I think they're the
custodial
overriding, overseeing organization.
Overseer.
And then there's a board,
Plantation
Streamline
owner.
board.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, the city buys a bus once in a while. I think we kick in a mill, which is less than $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
It's not a huge. It's not a city bus system.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Well, that's
right?
why I think people were thinking that it probably is, that the city's on the hook for it, or they're paying taxes for it, or,
Well, they're paying a
something
little
like
bit.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, but it's road tax and gas tax and some other.
They're paying a lot more for roads and streets than they are for the buses.
They are for the bus
Yeah.
buses. Okay.
Well, Jeff, you're getting to be so popular, and people are so interested in what you have to say now. We've initiated the Jeff list, because now during the week when you're not here, we have to put a list of things together.
People want to know. We don't
they
know.
want to know. So I've got two. I don't know how many Tom has. That was one. My first one is, how do the commissioners decide when a new, as an example, hotel goes in downtown, how many parking stalls they have to have? Like in the basement when they build the building. You guys have to come up with a number, right?
Oh, it's voodoo.
Yeah.
We rolled the chicken bones and a number comes up.
Yeah.
There's a long, complicated formula. We've tried with the new downtown plan to reduce it to X number per square foot. But at this point, there's a complicated parking formula depending on use, right? Is it a hotel, restaurant?
Well, you went through this with Black Olive.
Sure.
It just seemed like the parking was the biggest thing to talk about.
Well, it is downtown.
Yeah.
On
that project.
And it is to some extent everywhere. Even the banks want to know if you got adequate parking, right?
Yeah.
And having adequate parking is a true competitive advantage. Mm-hmm. So everybody that wants to get by on as little parking as possible probably ignores me, because I want to pull in somewhere where there's ample parking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And probably, something and safe parking.
I'd probably go to the Western Cafe every morning for breakfast if they had Tom's parking place right in front of the place.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is, here in Vancouver, when they build these high rises, they go down 6-7 floors. That's like 60-70 feet, to build, the underground parking for them. But 30% of it has to be unattended, meaning it's open to the public. So that's why I was curious. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for the city to have additional parking aside from just the use for the hotel.
It is a good idea. If you were to go down very far in downtown Bozeman, it would come a gusher.
Our water table's probably
Yeah,
because you got the Bozeman Creek running right through the middle of town, or almost the middle of town.
And there's an underground stream under the Gallatin County Courthouse, and so they're, we're essentially relatively high water table. So you're not going to do too much. You might, for example, put one level of parking underneath,
and we'll put 3 on top.
Yeah, right.
Isn't the parking garage
isn't
the parking garage designed for a couple more floors? Can they do that?
It's possible. It's possible.
I was trying to remember way back when that first started.
It sounded like a good idea at the time. You're going to take it out of service until you build then you're just doing away with the parking until you get more parking, and that'd be an issue now, right? But if you recall, everyone said, many people said, no one will ever park there.
Yeah, right.
Well, I have to tell you, Jeff, modern engineering does solve that problem. The city of Vancouver is actually a peninsula. Water level's 20 feet. So they still go down 60 to 100 feet. So they can go below your water table and build additional parking if you want them to.
Well, what they have to do is put concrete as thick as Shane's wallet in there.
There's no screen doors in those submarines, are there? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it would collapse if it was as thick as my wallet.
Yeah. So I think also, the economics are very different between a 4-story building downtown and a high-rise in downtown Vancouver. Yeah. But there's a complicated. The thing that's going on with one of the proposals, the one on East Main, is going to have parking.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's only a few blocks to walk.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, I think, is trying to convert monthly parking spaces to permanent parking spaces. That will likely require a city commission decision. So
Well, and
that's a bigger deal.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like what I read was that he was Holleran was going to decide whether the Element needed more spaces or the Marriott needs more spaces. And then
Well,
he's going to go after the 75 spaces for one or the other.
And the people that own the Element should have some say in that, you would think, right?
Well, I was thinking of doesn't he have another one down there? Maybe it's the M.
Well, he
Maybe
built it.
Yeah.
And,
he built the Element. Yeah.
Yeah, and he built it.
Okay. But doesn't own it.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Oh, maybe he owns some of it. But, the parking spaces belong to the people of the city of Bozeman.
Right.
For the most part that are in the parking garage. And so let's not, we might lease them on a monthly basis or we might lease them for a longer period of time. But they aren't, they're not, and there is some property there. For a long time I talked about how we were doing these leases and awarding property because you can think of the lease as a property, right? Without due process, and that due process will take some time, and nothing's going to get built till the parking situation gets solved.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that. Looking at the footprint of Mendenhall and Tracy,
yeah,
I don't see a parking area behind there or around it.
Yeah. So there is a lot of there is a lot of changing nature to downtown. I mean, if I have talked about it on here, that downtown for visitors and people who live in the immediate vicinity, more than those of us driving the half ton down to park and go to the restaurant, we will likely make different choices in the future.
Yeah,
because of
that's what I'm thinking. Downtown hotels would be great for the downtown businesses because tourism. You park there, you're in the hotel there. You can walk to all the stores and all the eateries and everything, and have a nice time and probably never leave those 5 or 6 blocks.
Right. That is, I think that is the changing nature of downtown. Yeah.
Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's up?
Hey, I was just curious. Is Bozeman or is Bozeman not a sanctuary city?
Not.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the other thing
they tried.
No. Well, yes.
Well, they sort of
when
tried.
you say they, you mean a group of citizens came to us several weeks in a row and asked us to be one. We never put it on the agenda, and it never was considered.
Okay, that's kind of how I remembered it too. I heard a caller call in the other day on another program and say that we were a sanctuary city, and I thought, no, we're not. But anyway, wasn't there some talk about the parking issue? 2 things about that, and let me ask a question. I'll get off the phone. Is when those new hotels went up downtown, did they take a couple of floors of space in that parking garage? Did they lease that out long term?
Yes. So there are the Etha was the first one. The Armory Hotel was the first to get spaces, and then the Element got spaces. The Lark has some spaces. So yes, there are spaces that are long-term leases for those.
Those are marked and designated.
No, they're not.
Oh, they're not.
No, they're not. Oh. And they're.
Do you get a voucher or something?
I think I'm not sure. I go there and park, right? We all go there and park if we are so inclined. So,
well, Jeff, let me ask you this: Would it not be a good idea in the future, before you issue a building permit for this, since parking is such a commodity downtown, to have the hotels themselves mitigate part of this parking problem by chipping in something to build specifically a parking garage? I believe there was some talk of doing that on the old Black Angus can't think of the lodge name now, right there at the corner, right across the place from the Chinese Garden.
The Big Bear lot right now.
Yeah. Wasn't there some talk of putting a parking garage there at some point in time, and wouldn't that be an appropriate ask of these big hotels who are going to absorb so much of that parking space downtown?
Well, it's no. It's not a yes or no answer in the sense that yes, you have to bring some parking with you, right? For example, the Armory Hotel. We built the garage to try to get a hotel down there. We got 3, right? So the garage was built specifically to, just like when you put a new interchange in off the interstate, and the first thing that sprouts up is the Howard Johnsons. There, I showed my age, right? You know, is the Motel 6 or whatever, right? Yeah. That again, that's an '80s thing. So, but whatever sprouts up, the Holiday Inn Express. So there is anyway that was the purpose of the hotel of the parking garage to some extent, was to encourage that.
Okay. So the egg came before the chicken on that one, but and that makes sense. It seemed to work, but I think the rest of us were kind of thinking that parking garage went up to mitigate an already existing lack of parking downtown.
Yeah,
that's what John Q. Public thought anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I think if you were to look at the discussions that everybody had, even before I got on the commission, Dick Clotfelter's proposal for to move City Hall and a performing arts center and all that stuff, the parking garage really was to facilitate this new development that he was working on.
Yeah.
And he actually...
And we almost turned the money down, sent it back.
Oh, my.
Way back when.
That would have been over my dead body, right?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call. I got to take a break. We appreciate you listening. Thanks very much. All right. We got to take a quick break. From our text line, where was Clint's place to go? It was cut off with a commercial at the end. Thanks. Well, I'm going to do a commercial here, so it may be cut off again. So... it's the Country Kitchen down at Four Corners. Country Kitchen down at Four Corners. So hopefully that will get to the listener before I hit the button.
Is that to see Councilor Clint?
Yeah, Councilor Clint and his clan of problem solvers are going to be down there. That's right. The talking heads are down there. So Country Kitchen down at the Four Corners, and they will entertain you and. All views are welcome there, I'm told, as long as there's swamp cleaning involved. So we'll be right back. 23 minutes after the hour of 8 a.m. It is Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, 45 degrees outside. Shane Taubman in the house from Vancouver, British Columbia, half man, half amazing. And Jeff Krauss in the house, completely amazing. And Tommy Goloff, your morning mayor. Unelected, but certainly high in the polls.
High in the polls.
And a voice in the neighborhood.
Well, that's right. You don't have 22 candidates running against you.
That's right. Yeah. I don't. I only have 4 or 5.
In the primary.
Yeah, right. I'm in the primary.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Back in 1995, when they began doing the tax increment finance district, assembling the names and starting it for the tax increment district downtown, one of the purposes was to get a parking garage to essentially encourage development downtown. That was the reason for that. I don't think many people had a problem parking in 1995 downtown, but they could see that if downtown became very successful, that it would help. And let's not forget, the Armory was a giant rotten spot in downtown. There were numerous places that weren't working. The sidewalks needed fixing. So they did 2 things. They did the Business Improvement District, which collects from the businesses downtown and does things like the flowers and music on Main and a lot, flags and those kinds of things, banners, street lights, the spiders, all of those things come from the Business Improvement District. And then there's the TIF, whose primary emphasis was this downtown multimodal facility, as we call it, the parking garage. And all of that was designed to encourage investment in downtown. You have a tax increment district to try to get incremental taxes. So you don't start a tax increment district for everything to stay the same. There wouldn't be any point in it.
Yeah.
You do a tax increment district so you can take the additional investment in that area, the taxes on that additional investment, and invest it in something that benefits the immediate area.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a phone call. 522-TALK is the number, 522-8255. Caller, you are on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I I had a question for the Galvin Valley Brain Trust this morning.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're able to answer it, but it's about this bill that Governor Steve Bullock just signed regarding mobile homes. I have a two-part question. Number one is, does Jeff or do you guys happen to know their definition of a mobile home, and if that bill will also extend to modular structures? And I'll just shoot you guys have to say and hang up, but thanks for the time.
I know a little bit about it. It is for. So I read this article in the Missoulian, and I immediately asked the people that were involved in that up in Missoula, did I read it right or did they make a mistake? And they had made a mistake. So my understanding of it is for mobile homes that are considered personal property. Mm-hmm. So a mobile home that's on a foundation and is taxed as part of real property would not be part of this bill. But a mobile home that is on a temporary foundation, as in a mobile home park, that is taxed as personal property.
Like an automobile or a truck
you get a tax
RV
bill that has MMM in front of it, MMM 1947, let's say.
Right. Yeah.
Then that is a mobile home that's taxed as personal property. Those are the ones. And it's really aimed at very old mobile homes that have a de minimis. Their tax bills are $50 or less anyway.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, at least when I was county treasurer, you could go attach their bank account. You could seize any personal property to collect a personal property loan, and that the hardships of people that have to live in a 30-year-old mobile home, can be significant. So it is for mobile homes that are taxed as personal property, and not real estate.
Okay. So
and they have to be a certain age, which is many years, at least 2 decades old, I believe.
Yeah.
And they're really a minimal amount of personal property taxes.
Okay. From our text line, Clint's Hangout is the Country Corner Cafe. I said the Country Kitchen. It's the Country Corner.
Country Corner.
There's only a couple down there, but yeah, it's on the east side of the street if you're heading toward Big Sky.
And right, and is that Betty's place?
Yeah, Betty. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know the name of the place. All I know it is Betty's place.
Yeah. So
that is.
So anyway, I apologize for that. I was thinking KK kitchen, Country Kitchen, but it's Country Corner with K's, spelled with K's.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's country.
And Betty is not spelled with K.
Betty's not spelled with a K. Yeah, as far as I know. So
yeah.
All right. All right, we got a duck adder at the bottom of the hour. We got Fox News. We got Fox State News, or Montana State News. We got Britt Foster weather. We got the gift corral. Boy, Sherry's Berries. Have you ever got Sherry's Berries?
No, I haven't. Gotten Sherry's Berries.
Shane,
no.
Sherry's Berries, you got any of them?
No, not me. Never. No.
I got them for my wife. I'll tell you, they're as big as a computer mouse. They are.
Really?
They are. They're huge. I mean, if you punch 3 fingers in them, you could use them for bowling. I'll tell you, they're huge. So, well worth the money. So, but anyway, you'll hear about that coming up. And we'll be back with more with Jeff Krauss right after the news. And I don't know, what other topics we got? We can talk about the annexation thing.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Because Western Drive folks showed up at the committee, and we'll be back. 23 minutes for the top of the hour. I have done something that I almost never, ever do. You never put 2 people on the line at the same time. Especially
with Shane.
And especially 2 women with Shane. That's even hard. So the lady that I told would be the first caller, you are up. Go for it.
All right. Hi, Jeff. This is Crystal Stanionis.
Hi.
Jeff and I worked together many years ago at the museum, and I'm just listening this morning and thought I would call in to ask what the initial feedback has been from the community on the proposed citywide park district to bring us all under one park district, so the individual HOAs don't have to be paying for city parks. as a West Sider, I'm very much in support of this, but I'm just curious what the initial feedback has been from the community.
I don't think we've had much. Certainly no one has showed up at a commission meeting to support it. It's interesting. I'm a West Sider, and we have a HOA that pays to support the park, and I like that model better. So it's interesting how you and I have come at it from different ways. But I think the HOAs in general do a much better job of taking care of the parks.
Well, it's
going
to go on the ballot anyway, isn't it, in November?
I think there's well, remember they said that we were gonna go first with our Bozeman Public Safety building last November. We did. The county stepped back. The county wants to go on the ballot this November, I believe, and with their
city
law
turns around and screws them
with the Law and Justice Center, and suddenly we show up and say, well, we want another ballot issue on there.
Yeah.
When I thought we were going to step aside with that. So, it represents a significant tax increase. The spending that would leave the general fund doesn't get reduced, so they're not reducing the general fund. So really, $2 million of the $5 million is an increase for other stuff, in addition to the $5 million increase for parks. So it's I think there's a lot to discuss before. There's no ballot issue on the ballot yet.
Yeah.
There hasn't
June,
been.
probably somewhere in there.
Well, apparently it'll go on in November, regardless of what we promised last year. But anyway, that's the discussion so far, Crystal.
And how do you feel about this whole notion that as someone who lives in an HOA managed park, we're being double taxed?
I don't think we are being double taxed. For one thing, taxes are involuntary, and HOAs are, you can choose to be in an HOA or not in an HOA. I think that's a part of it, and. I just think that hiring the private sector, hiring private contractors does a much better job of taking care of the parks in general. And we even have volunteers, the volunteers that go around and clean out make sure the bags for the dogs and empty the trash cans. Some of that I think is, to be replaced with, full-time city employees will be very expensive. So I don't feel a double taxation there. I feel like it's a chance to improve the neighborhood I live in, rather than have another government bureaucracy impose the rules on me.
Okay. All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Yep.
All right. Caller, thanks for waiting. You're on the air with Jeff Krauss. What's going on?
Good morning. This is Charity.
Hey.
Hey, so Jeff, I have this question for you concerning the parking garage downtown.
Sure.
My parents are both senior citizens. They both work downtown in the vicinity of the parking garage, and they would like at some point to park there, but they don't own credit cards or debit cards. Is there some way that they could purchase some kind of debit card from the city that would allow them to punch in?
I don't think so. I'll make a note of that, and so that would be like a parking card, a prepaid parking.
A prepaid parking card. Yes, that's a good description.
Because they don't have a debit or credit card.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no way to pay for cash, if I'm correct.
I think you are right. They did have the cash machines before, but those aren't there anymore.
Yeah, it's the only time I was in there. I paid cash to get in, and then since then, my dad has informed me that they don't have that capacity anymore.
Right. No. It's like there's businesses going in that direction too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No cash. I'll ask.
Yeah, we'll try and find out for you.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, maybe Jeff can text me. We can put it on the air before he's back if you can find that out, Jeff, and we'll put it out there.
It's a darn good question. You can park there 2 hours without a credit card or a debit card, but that's it, 2 hours.
Yeah, right. So.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call, Charity. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 13 minutes before the top of the hour. It's Tuesday, May 7th, 2019, 45 degrees outside. Shane Matobin on the line with me has a question for Jeff Krauss. And what's up?
Well, Jeff, I got another Jeff list question. We got a lot of calls this week about unknown rental residential suites. So what's the commission's position on A, unknown rental suites, and B, that are built without any, fees paid to the city for building it?
I don't understand the question.
Okay.
Unknown rental suites.
Yeah, people in Bozeman have, I believe, may have built a suite in their basement and rented it out, unbeknownst to the city, right? They didn't go in and they renovated without going in and getting the proper documentation for it, for electrical and plumbing and stuff. Are there guidelines or laws about checking on citizens that have set up what would be considered an illegal suite?
Yes, there would be. Absolutely. For one thing, you got to be able to get out.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have
safety
egress,
first,
if you don't have egress windows in each bedroom and in the main living quarters, you're likely to get shut down. And frankly, there's a lot of places where it's zoned residential single family home only. Yeah. So if you have a rental in the basement, you are violating the zoning. You'd get a cease and desist, but those are all complaint driven, right? There's nobody with
nobody's walking the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, waiting to spot you. Yeah, that's something where
your renters are making noise or causing a disturbance or something, or they're doing something.
There would be some kind of complaint driven process there. Hey. We talked about Western Drive, I think largely because we talked about it on this show. People from Western Drive, and it was on the blog. The blog really did get the word out. Yeah, otherwise, they knew nothing about it.
Yeah.
So the people on Western Drive showed up last night and said, we want to be part of whatever decision it is that you're going to annex us. And I think, the combination of deferred SIDs that could be on that, the connection cost, the cost of running water and sewer to your place, fire, water, and sewer impact fees, the incremental cost of new taxes, what other new regulations you'd be subject to, whether you have a suite in your basement, what the zoning would
What's
be.
The deal?
All of those things are pretty big deals.
Yeah.
Of concern to people that are getting targeted for annexation.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, would this all be presented in one giant bill, or, would there be a
bite at a
some
time?
kind of a payment thing? Because that's going to, if you're talking about sewer and water hookup and all the things you just mentioned, you could be looking at a $10,000 bill real easy.
Yeah, I think if you have a substantial piece of property that's in a deferred SID, like you're along Durston and there's been a deferred SID and you own 10 acres or something, then you're looking at,
you're looking at a lot of money.
You're looking at a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not a little money, a lot of money. The cost of putting sidewalks along your street,
sure.
Which are required, and curbs and gutters, road design, fire hydrants, the whole thing. All of those things, I think, should be of interest to anyone who is in they call themselves the island. We're here on the island.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good description. Yeah. And I don't know the answer to those questions. I think some of that has been anticipated in the ordinance they're moving forward on. Yeah. But I think they did themselves a service last night by showing up and going, hey, we want to be part of this.
Okay. Let's take one more quick call, then we got to take a break. Caller, you are on the air. You got a question for Jeff Krauss?
This is a great example of how government is in people's bedrooms, but yet you guys are trying to get in our houses now. It's like, just be nice to you. If you ever came to my house, I'd tell you to get lost because you have no right whatsoever to tell me what to do inside my own property. It's kind of people like you that need to get lost, buddy. Later.
Okay. Well, Jeff is not in favor of the annexation, so he's the lone voice in the woods that are against this because of the inconvenience that the property is going to.
And I think to make it clear, if you choose to live in the city of Bozeman, you choose to live under the city of Bozeman's rules.
That's true.
I think it's clear that, and that's why it's a choice.
But if the city comes to get
that's
you,
it.
that's
If the city
deal.
comes to get you, then it's not your choice.
It's not your choice. Yeah.
And that's why I don't support involuntary annexation.
There you go. All right. We got to take a quick break, rush update, and some other things. No Noxatrill, so we'll be right back. All right, 2 minutes left before the top of the hour. From our text line, absolutely no park tax. We can't afford one more dime. And sure could use a signal light come in eastbound from 90 to 19th Street. Signal light to come in eastbound from 90 to 19th Street. So,
yeah. Okay. Signal light eastbound.
Yeah, eastbound from 90 to 19th. So.
Yeah, I think there are going to be some changes to the 19th intersection. That's a Montana Department of Transportation, of course.
All right.
Issue. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about there, a lot. I think I'm always surprised and grateful when people come up to me or tell me that they listen to the show.
Yeah.
We lost a listener last week, Tom O'Connor, his son and daughter-in-law are friends of mine, and his wife, and so my condolences go out to the family of Tom, and I was grateful for everything that he did for this community, which was substantial.
Yeah.
A lot of things. The big donor to MSU, activist in the
Good
community.
deal. All right.
So I just wanted to mention that. We need to pick up probably 10 new listeners to replace Tom.
To replace him, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, one of our listeners has to go, and that would be Shane. So, Shane.
Goodbye, Mayor. Thanks, Jeff. Everybody be happy today. Tomorrow's hump day, Mayor. Looking forward to it. Be happy, be safe.
All right. Thanks, Shane. All right. Thanks, Jeff, for being here. We appreciate it. Always. Always great having you in here. Good information and all that. So, you may not be here next week. We'll find out.
Yeah,
But, anyway,
might be here, may not be, but the following week